And also some people we chose that are part from these generations. But as you asked us, they are not people that are like quite famous, but they are important too. So the first generation we want to present is the silent generation. Despite they talked about it yesterday, I want to give a little bit of an introduction about what the silent generation is in order to connect my character to his generation and analyze if the generation in which he was born had some influence in his personal life. So the silent generation are ones the people that are born or were born between 1925 and 1945. The silent generation is a little generation in comparative like with other generations because of many factors due principally to the economical crisis that the world was suffering around 1930 and also because of the war that was happening at the beginning of 1940. So initially this term, the silent generation, was only used for North Americans, but also it was later used on people from South America and also from Occidental Europe and also those who participated in the Korean War. So the silent generation lived too many important historic moments for humanity. One of them was the Great Depression, as I mentioned. Also the Nazi boom, where these Nazi ideologies were like growing, and also the World War II and the Korean War, as I said. There are many people that were born in this generation that we know, such as John Lennon, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and well, my character that I will present him later. And another thing about the silent generation is that the first time that this term was coined, the silent generation, by itself, was in the Time magazine. That was an article named The Youngest Generation. So that's where this term was born. And well, the people from this generation had a rough time. The most important values for these people were work hard and also sacrifice in order to chase their goals. And well, strong institutions were like the basis of this society in this time, such as the family, church, and other institutions. So these people were like taught to be likable to others, to be likable to others, and also to not to pretend to do something against the authority, but of course there are some exceptions. So my character is John Biden. I think most of us know him. He actually is one of the most important US characters into politics nowadays, but he was born during the time of the silent generation. I think it's 1924, something like that. He was an attorney before he got into the politics here in the United States. Then he became a senator. He was the 5th youngest senator in the US history, and also the longest term serving senator in Delaware. He's from Delaware. And so then he became the 47th US president when Barack Obama was first elected in 2008. He also had a campaign in 2000, a presidential campaign in 2008, but it didn't gain much popularity. So he is a close friend from Obama. And then he had his second term as vice president when Obama was re-elected in 2012. So more things about this character, John Biden. He suffered from bullying when he was studying, when he was a kid. Why? Because he used to be like a skinny and a little kid who was bullied by the others who were taller or stronger than him. He also liked to play football, and actually he says that in some point of his life he liked more football than studying itself, but that's another story. He also had suffered from a stutter, and that's another factor that contributes to the bullying that the people made to him, because sometimes they would mock him because of his stutter, but he could deal with it by learning poetry and reciting it in front of the mirror. And also, when he was studying college, he couldn't afford to pay a tuition because of the economic situation that the US was living in that moment, and his parents. So he worked washing the windows of his college, and also he would weed the garden. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, that's the fact. Then indeed, in the conclusion, I'm going to talk more about if his success in his career has something to do actually with his generation.
Now we are going to talk about baby boomers generation, and well, it's worth to say that they are the 20% of the USA population. Also, the time they were born, there was a result of 77 million of babies. And well, the stereotypes of this generation are materialistic, boring, impatient, having a feeling of superiority, and are judgmental. Also, these generations were the focus in order to create all the publicity in those years, and also are the focus nowadays with the technology, because this is the generation that has like a blank space in the aspect of technology due to the time they were born. Well, and now I am going to talk about one important character of this generation. His name is Jan de Ritter, and he studied business administration and is the CEO of Volker Wessels. This is a construction of services that has focused now their projects on being sustainable. Why this character has been there? Well, the story is it's maybe very common, but it's very unknown. He started his first project in Wall Street when he was the one who brought the internet online provider to the stock market, and also has a degree in economics and in law. A German magazine has said that this man has the characteristic of being honest and risk taker due to the place that have taken the company. But why is it important for us, and why is it important to know about him? Well, he has made a plan of 3 stages in the company. It's sustainable, healthy, and is a place like a natural role with the environment. Why? Well, one of the most important, and I say one of the most worthy ideas that he has brought to the community is the plastic road. What is this? Well, it's a street made of plastic bottles, as we can see here. Now it's a prototype, but they say that it's probably to be implemented in the next month. So this is something that is happening already, and it's something that has, from being a social problem like trash and plastic, he has transformed it to something that we all need and we all use. Another project that is worth to say about this man is the implementation of a residual treatment plant that actually were two. One is located in the United States and the other one is located in France. Well, this project was signed by his leadership and also was implemented during his time in the company. In 2004, he was the responsible of the global manager acquisition for Frankie's, it's ABN, and this is where he had all the information in order to create a more sustainable company. His life role and his life vision was to create something that is damaging the planet and damaging us in order to make it give it a cycle to the thing. So we use it, we trash it, but also we can reuse it.
So our conclusions into these important people that we presented already. First of all, with John Biden and the silent generation, as I said, the silent generation had its pros and its cons. It had many good things, but also they suffered many bad things that also affected their lives. Of course, the economic situation and the social situation at those times, like worldwide, affected his life. Like I said, he wouldn't have the economical sources to access to a college, and he had to work hard to really chase his dreams. He also was taught by his parents to not give up and to continue working in those dreams he had. And now he's one of the most known politicians from the US. So yeah, I think actually the time where you were born, the people that were present in your generation and at the moment you're living now have something to do with all your decisions, with all the things you made throughout your life. And John Biden is a clear example of how his own generation influenced his life. And now
Well, in my case, I could say that the character, yes, had like an influence of the circumstances, but even though if this affect, this doesn't has a relationship with the determination and the vision he already had for his life and the plan he had for his own life. So yes, the time we were born affect us and affect our decision, but that doesn't mean that it has to determine something that we want to do or who we are going to be. Thank you.